Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. If I sound like I'm shouting, it's because I have my air on full blast because I'm a sweaty bastard. It's hotter than hell. Uh, it's like 110. Well, it was at my job site. Here where I'm driving, it's 101. I just got into this car though because I carpool, and it wasn't my day to drive, so I just got in my car. Um, I am driving, but I am hands-free. And I'm not going to be focusing on the camera, obviously, because motherfucker wants to get home safe. Uh, but today, I want to talk about uh, something I know that all addicts in recovery, people who've been through trauma, even not sown in addiction or not, going through addiction that's sown through trauma, deals with. And there's just a certain, there's certain behaviors that I feel like, yes, are similar, that all addicts tend to develop, and, albeit in their own unique ways, right? Because we're all our own unique individuals. And we see, perceive, understand, respond to shit in entirely different ways. Some of those ways might be more alike than others, but for the majority of people, everybody's situation and their interpretation is at least a little bit different, right? So what I want to talk about is with myself, uh, behaviors and emotions. Holy shit! Look at this guy. That guy's fucking stupid, huh? Fucking piece of shit. He's gonna get people killed. Fucking, I already survived myself. What are you doing out here driving like that? You're gonna drive 95 miles an hour like I am. Do it in a safe manner and in a courteous way. Piece of shit. Sorry. Anyway, so what I want to talk about is behaviors that I feel like, are derived through and maybe reinforced in a negative way through addiction, right? Like that I still struggle with, and I still am working towards trying to be better at managing. And I want to tell a little side story about what happened yesterday. So, where I live with my lady and stepson, we have a bunch of stray cats, and we live in a trap, neuter, and release area where, and I live in a complex. The landlord of the complex, fortunately, is a good enough person. They actually, when this litter of kittens was born and found, they had them vaccinated and spayed and neutered as early as possible. And the county offers it for free too, right? But so we've been taking care of them, like trying to find them homes. But they come in, they stay for the hot parts of the day, and they go out and roam at night and stuff. And yesterday, after I leave for work at 3 a.m. So at 6 a.m., one of them was crying like really loud. My lady woke up, heard him, seen he was up really high in a tree that was like, he's not able to climb it yet. They're like 4 or 5 months old. He's kind of the dodo head of the bunch. And he's the least physically adept out of them, right? So he's up in this tree crying, stuck, can't figure out how to get down, and goes higher when my lady tries to get him because he's scared. He's like scared of something. And he one of the other kittens that's a little bigger and a little more able gets himself up there and tries, and literally it's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Like, the one kitten was trying to show his brother how to get down, because he was worried and he knew he was scared, and it like warms my heart like thinking about it. But so when he got down, he was very skittish, very scared. Throughout the day, he got really, really lethargic, and my lady was petting him, touched a certain spot, and he jumped, and she had a little blood on her hand. So that told us there was a wound. Our neighbor, very, very well versed in taking care of stray cats and like, looking out for the neighborhood cats and stuff like that. And they took him, shaved him, checked him out, but he kept getting worse, like physically, like less moving a lot less, just like not like breathing really heavy and not doing really well. And so the wound looked like a hole, right? And they've had a lot of cats. They've unfortunately had cats in places there's horrible people, and those horrible people have shot BBs at those cats, and that's kind of what it looked like. And so they thought that that's what it was, and they brought him back. They tried treating the wound and stuff, and then they were holding him, and she set him on the ground, and even like at first, I guess he was still trying to move around outside. He really likes being outside, and but he just wasn't. He's very particular. He likes to make himself comfortable. So if he lays down, he sets his little paws up and he makes himself comfortable. And he didn't do that. She set him down, and the poor little guy just crumpled over. And then I saw through the screen door, and I went over there, and he just sat there. They walked a little away, and he didn't move to follow him or anything. So I went over, and I picked his little head up, and I pet him, and his head just sunk in my hand. And I just felt so ill, right? And then I heard what was said, and it made me so incredibly angry. And I was already on a mission, right? I heard this, and I heard the words "might not make it," and so I did what, I love him, the kid loves him, my lady loves him, I love all animals, right? They are like the essence of pure innocence, unless they are trained otherwise by evil like us. And I took him to the vet, and they checked him out. He had 103.5 fever. When I got to the vet, I was in such a panic, I didn't close the crate properly, and so the little son of a bitch got out and had energy then because he knew what was going on, and he ran as fast as he could. He went hid in some small bushes. I tried getting him. He got away from me, went to this big 10-foot diameter rose bush that's fucking up to my chest, and it digs himself in there, and I can't find him at all. And I start crying. I start losing my shit because I just want this poor little kitty to be okay. I can feel right now, fucking, I'm not gonna do it, but I just want this kitty to be okay. And so I'm trying to get him out. I called my lady to bring tuna, anything I could think of, because I went to the closest emergency vet, and so after an hour, I'm just digging through this, and this bush is a thorn bush with thorns this big, long, and so I'm digging through, and I catch a glimpse of his eyes, and I'm oh my God, there he is, and I can barely reach him, and I just said, fuck it. I don't even know if you'll be able to see, but I got cuts all up the yin yang, the sunlight and the air. I'm driving also, so, but I shoved my arm into that rose bush as fucking quick and hard as I could to get a hand on him. And the poor little guy, and I know he wasn't feeling good, obviously. The poor guy had got himself, he went in the bottom of the bush and climbed up 3 feet in the bush, and it was wedged in between a bunch of thorns. And I felt so bad that I didn't latch that damn crate properly. I was in such a rush. But I was able to get him out. He had no other cuts or anything on him, amazingly. He just stayed there. He stopped moving, and I reached my hand through I cut myself all up. I had thorns on my shirt, and I got a hold of him with one hand, and then I took my other hand and I just started ripping the thorn branches out until I cleared a full clearing all the way to the top. I was holding him for almost 10 minutes right there, and he knew I was trying to help him. I think he didn't try to get away like he did earlier, and I just kept ripping the branches up until I had a space big enough for him to come up, and I picked him up, and I went to the vet, went in the door, and I started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't. I was so angry, frustrated at myself, and just not. I wasn't doing well. I was worried that this cat wasn't going to make it because I could just feel him. he felt different, like a completely different than what he normally feels like. He's just like almost like he's dying in my arms, and I'm fucking like. So they tell me like, oh yeah, $120 consult. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm this cat's gonna live. Fucking, I don't like. He's technically a stray. He's fixed and vaccinated, but he's still a stray. Um, Not anymore. I spent $950 on him, so he's going to be mine legally, and I'm gonna insure him and stuff like I should have. But none of that matters. He's okay. That's what matters. But I've been thinking about it all day. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, and this is perhaps my biggest thing. And it's something I preach all the time, talking about not being reactionary and being more responsive. And I'm very good at doing that, for the most part, right? In times like this, right, which I would consider an emergency, a life is on the line, right? And I almost made a very fatal error. My lapse in my immediate reaction, just gotta save him, like right now, instead of stopping, taking a breather, and thinking clearly and saying, hey, I need to make sure that I am not frantic and just reactionary, because I may mess up or not do something correct, and it could lead to disaster and an emergency like this. And that's exactly what happened. I, not paying attention or whatever, didn't latch that stupid crate as I should have. And it almost cost that cat his life, because he would have ran away, and I would have not been able to get him. And eventually, I don't know, that fever, the fever was, within hours that infection set in, like, and it got to that point. I don't know how long that kitty would have been okay for like that, with no help. And so they cleaned him up, they shaved around the wound, cleaned his pus out, did x-rays, and this leads me to the second thing. I feel like as addicts, we are very good, and in some cases we have this behavior before, and in some cases this behavior is exactly what kind of drives us into addiction to begin with. And it's a tendency to see the worst possible outcome and believe that that's what's going to happen every single time. And that kind of belief and that kind of operating functional like way of living, like a lot of people will see that as like, yeah, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But it evolves into always just expecting that the worst is going to happen, which if you're always living in that sort of fucking mentality, like you tend to stop seeing relativity in things and seeing like the good and shit. You only start looking for the bad, It almost becomes instinctful. And you start seeing a reason to not trust, not believe, and not like even see the more rational reason for something happening, right? So now I had heard them say BB gun, and before I had even seen him slump, I started writing out a sign that I was going to post in front of my house that said, if you shoot cats with BB guns, I will find you. And I had a whole plan there. And I will fucking hurt you. Like, just a sign that said that. And I already, within minutes, I took what I was being told, instead of using my judgment to think of what more maybe likely and possible outcomes there could be. Especially knowing how this neighborhood really is very supportive and helpful. Everybody feeds these cats, all the cats. There's like 15 cats that roam around, and everybody loves them. Why would somebody shoot them, They're not hurting nobody. They're not messing shit up for anybody or messing anybody's stuff up. They're all fixed. They're all vaccinated. They all are healthy. Like, they don't fight. So instead of stopping and thinking, well, maybe they're jumping to conclusions, I took the conclusion they jumped to, and I fucking leaped off the cliff with it, because I have a tendency to expect the worst. because I have a very little trust. And So I wholeheartedly believed in my head that that must be what happened. And I even went as far as when I took him in, I told them that that's what I thought happened. It's the only thing I could think of. And how he got so high up in that tree was probably because he was scared. And so when he got his x-rays, the before they did him, the vet told me, like, hey, if he was shot with a BB, we will know, because even if the BB isn't there, when a BB enters, and unfortunately, in a place as big as the city that they are in, they see stuff like that pretty often, and it's unfortunately shitty people do things like that, and it's something that they have to deal with. So they know what to look for, and there's little metal fragments that you'll be able to see in the X-ray, usually if there's a BB involved, and none of that was there. Just a straight puncture wound and a cracked rib, and the wound was very infected. And so when he told me that there's almost no chance it was a BB gun, I immediately felt stupid. And I also was so incredibly relieved. And also, this was just a side note, just such a strong reminder that God is always there, especially when you need him, and especially if you have faith in him, right? Because when they took him to do his testing, after I found out he had that fever and that he wasn't doing good, they were taking him. I went out to my car, and I sat in my car, and I cried a little, and I prayed. And I pray, not as often as I should, but I genuinely had a moment where I asked and said, like, please, if there's anything that you will ever listen to, like, aside from, like, blessing everybody, who needs blessing, like, if there's anything that I've ever prayed for in my life, especially lately, that I really, really, really would love some help on, it would be this kitten pulling through. Like, if that happens, man, like, I don't care what it costs. Like, I just wanted him to be okay. That's all. Anyways, and he's okay. But so the doctor told me the X-rays were. The X-rays just said that he had a little puncture wound and a cracked rib, and so I'm like, I'm so incredibly relieved that I don't have a maniac, running around trying to shoot cats with BB guns, and that leads me. And I'll explain what happened to him, what I think most likely happened to him, and even the vet thinks that that's probably the most likely thing. Which, if I would have stopped and didn't react, like I said first, and always expect the worst, and expect that, things are always going to be the worst case scenario. Secondly, and oh man, and third. Control, right? Like, so already, and oh well, here, third and fourth. So third, aggression, right? Because I know wholeheartedly that the right way to deal with something. I also believe with certain things, right? Like, if you hurt children, like, you deserve to not exist anymore. And if I ever caught somebody hurting a child, I would do everything in my power to harm that person harming a child. Fucking, I don't care who you tell that to. Fucking, don't care. And animals also fall into that category. But still, there are right and wrong ways to deal with something. Now, punching somebody in the face and taking their BB gun and calling the police and being honest with the police and telling you punch them in the face, maybe an acceptable way to deal with that. And I'm okay with that. That was not what was in my head. And I was fully committed to the point where I ended up not really sleeping very much last night. But even after everything was good, because I allowed myself to get so caught up in it, right? And so I was going to order trail cams, as many as it took to get an angle on everywhere I know the cats congregate. And I was going to put them up. I don't give a fuck about the legalities of it. I don't care. I was going to call the manager and tell them, too. I was going to do it. And then as soon as and also, after I work tomorrow, I wasn't going to sleep the whole weekend. I would sleep during the day, but I mean at night. Like, I would try to get some sleep during the day. And I was going to sit outside, like in my car, with the lights off and stuff. Car off, all night. Stay awake. Drink C4s all night. And I was going to wait until I found out who it was and where they live. And I was going to, depending on if they were a minor, this is the only thought that I had about it, follow them to their house, beat on their door, and whatever male was in that house over the age of 18 was going to pay. And I was going to gladly go to jail for it. And that was my plan. And I honestly, if it turned out that it was a BB, there's a chance that that's what I would be working on doing this weekend still. And that's not also the smartest thing. So that falls into the aggression thing. There's no need to take things that far. Maybe do the surveillance, find out who it is, call the police, especially if you've got a recording. Because that's going to be more of a solution, having them, properly dealt with in a legal manner, as opposed to me maybe beating the crap out of him and then him wanting to retaliate or getting, being obviously angry, that they got their asses handed to them because they were going to. You could beat me up. I'm gonna fucking keep coming back. I will hurt you. You can win a fight, but I will hurt you. And I will find you again and hurt you again, depending on how dark and disgusting of a transgression you've committed is, right? And I try not to be like that anymore. And I haven't done anything like that in a long time, which is good. I don't want to do it again. So I was very relieved that was not the case. But that aggression is one of the things I still struggle with. That scenario can also be a testament to control, right? Because one of the things I talk about a lot too is the idea that relinquishing control is in a lot of cases the best thing you can do, especially when it's a situation outside of anything doing with yourself. Like if it's not, something to do with your emotions, how you feel about something, how you see things, and maybe like how you can learn and grow. Like, those are really the only things that you can control. Like I can't control like how people are gonna be to animals, right? But I also can't like I wanted to take that person's fate that doesn't even exist. This person doesn't exist, by the way, right? They don't. Nobody shot the cat. And I was gonna take this person's like well-being into my own control, and I wanted to control the situation. And what I mean by control is he's the big man who wants to, pick on little kittens. Well, this is what happens when you pick on little kittens. A bigger man is going to come and pick on you and hurt you a lot worse than you hurt that kitten, because that big man made sure that kitten was okay. I'm not saying I'm a big man or anything, but you know what I mean? Like, there's always a bigger and better dude. Fucking. And, like, yeah, that's wanting to take control of a situation, Like, oh, this dude thinks he's going to do something, I'll make sure he never does it again, That's kind of trying to control some shit, right? And, so anyways, what we think happened, me and his doctor, is that he was probably playing at the corner, like, patio, and inside that patio, that apartment, they're doing, like, basically a whole remodel inside. And so there's been material in the patio sometimes, and these dumb cats, especially his dumb ass, he likes to explore a little bit. So I think it's possible that he poked himself on like a rusty nail maybe, and he thinks so too, because right where that hole is lines up with the rib that's cracked. It's not broken, but it is cracked and it's a little misaligned. And he thinks that, yeah, that nail must have hit it when he was jumping, or he fell or something, and it cracked that rib, which probably saved him, because that means the nail couldn't have gone any further and done like a lot more damage. Thank God, I was so relieved, because then he was like, yeah, we cleaned the pus, we gave him a 14-day antibiotic for the infection, and then he might be more lethargic still, might struggle to eat, and then they gave me like a pain medicine to give him for a week that I gotta like inject in his mouth. My lady's been doing that, because I gotta drive 107 miles each way to work and back, be there for 10 hours, 110 degree weather. But hey, man, I chose to do it, and I'm grateful for it. Just, sometimes I gotta throw that out there. Boy's got a lot going on. Fucking, but hey, if I'm not busy, I'm out fucking around. I think, I don't know. That's why I've been busy ever since I got clean. But hell, I was busy before I got clean too. So that ain't the only reason. Anyways, yeah. So, and I'm gonna keep him inside. Obviously, he's not going outside. And they gave me like a little medicine to like put in his ear in case he's not hungry. So like, but as soon as we got him home, I got him home. I got him home at like 11 something, or yeah, fuck, I think, I don't know. $950 later. I couldn't be happier to spend the $900. I just wanted him to be okay, and the fact he was going to be okay, I thank God, and I'm grateful first and foremost that he's okay, but also I didn't have to spend more. Like, I knew it was going to be expensive, but that's the money is besides the point. Money's going to go anyways, but that cat is, it's one life. That cat will never exist again, maybe some like it, but not that same one that's, comes and sleeps on my chest and licks my nose and fucking will literally just lay with me for, as long as I will let him, and super sweet to our kid. And can't replace that. But, yeah, like, those are like the four main things, right? Other side notes, though, right, is I tend to I still get addicted to shit, right? Like, if I enjoy something, like, I want to do it as much as I can, Like, I was off work for a few months back in like 2023 into 2024 or something, and me and my friends started playing World of Warcraft. I'd never played it before. I played RuneScape as a kid. I was a real nerd, right? And they all got me in, and I really liked the multiplayer aspect, that you could actually play with your friends on like RuneScape, where you just fucking kill crabs next to each other and cut trees next to each other, like, until they release raids. But and even with RuneScape, I started playing it again, and I got sucked in. But like, it was all I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything else. I'd literally spend my whole days doing that, not sleeping, and then do it again. Like, fucking, I'd sleep for like 2 or 3 hours. It was a full-blown addiction that I let develop within the span of a month, right? Certain foods, like if I get on a kick with a candy, I'll eat, like, I'll buy like the literal big party bag of Starburst, all pink, and I'll eat half the motherfucker in a sitting for no good reason, like, every time, like, every day, sometimes, if I allow it. Like, so it's that kind of shit too, right? Like, I still very much have that addictive tendency, the tendency to like want more and more and more, even in a very unreasonable rate of something, just because I like it and want more of it, and maybe it makes me feel better, or it distracts me from something. I don't know what the fuck I get out of a Starburst, but except for maybe the shits, probably, right? So I guess another thing I could say too is like, this kind of goes along with like looking for the worst in things too, but just like leaning towards negativity and everything, right? Even like the self-deprecation sometimes jokes. Like, my big problem right now is, I guess instead of negativity, I could say becoming addicted or attached to negative feelings, right? So my big thing right now is I can't help but be baffled and distracted and completely just engulfed into everything that's going on in the world right now, and trying to develop my own understanding of it. So like I'm just trying to gain, like, read and like envelop as much information as I can that is as factual as I can expect it to be from any fucking media outlet anymore, um, and like develop and use my own discernment to develop a belief about what I see the world coming to, which ain't good. I've put a couple videos where I rant about what I see in the world that's coming, and yeah, man, like a lot of the time that I spend with negative rumination about brewing on it, like what's going on in the world and what things are coming to, that like some of that time I could be used like learning or trying to figure out something positive, right? Like, what could I do to better prepare for not just that, anything, any emergency, right? Like, what happens if I lose my job at the same time as there's some big old earthquake and I don't have any money, and like maybe I need to like be using that time to better myself instead of like dragging myself down even further, which in a roundabout way will affect everything around you in a negative light. Because if you are negative and you're perceiving everything around you as negative, that rubs off, and that like feelings spread, right? Vibes spread, and like people can feel your energy, right? And if you're always just worried or fucking stressed out, and like, which I can let myself get that way sometimes, you will invite that upon the people around you just by virtue of interaction with you. Because I mean, like, if I'm, oh fuck, this sucks, and then like I explain to you why this shit sucks, and like just naturally out of caring about me, you're gonna feel upset, like, oh man, that sucks that this sucks for you. But also, maybe I explain the situation and you're like, fuck yeah, that's fucking fucked, like that's really shitty. Like, how can I help? And then you find out you can't help, so now you feel like shit. And like there's just like there's so many different branches that can break off and lead off of you when it comes to your behavior. And the same goes for positive things and like being happy and shit. It goes both ways. That that can rub off on people too. And that's what I think, we as people should want to like share and spread amongst other people is happiness, positivity, and like, motivation, and like hope, right? Instead of just nope. But I know that was kind of ranty, but that experience last night was I was not, it's sad to say, but like this, you can call this whatever you want, but I generally don't have faith in a lot of people. So like I view people not as fondly as I view animals. And I'll be honest when I say there's people I know that have passed away that never even got remotely as close to a reaction out of me that kitten was getting out of me just at the thought that I could lose him, and my role that would have been in it if he got away from me and I couldn't find him. Like, I would have been responsible for him not getting the help. Like, and obviously, like, other people could have done it, like, but that's not up to my neighbors to do that shit either. Like, and I know they struggle, and like they couldn't even have afforded to do that, So like, at that point, like, if I didn't, or if I lost him, like he ran away, I would have taken that as my doing. Like, it was my responsibility. I'm so grateful, so incredibly grateful that everything's okay, and he's healthy now. He's doing so much better. Like, he actually hasn't had a problem with his appetite since he's been back. He didn't eat at all after that whole thing, yesterday. And then after he was in the bed for a little, when he got out onto the bed out of the crate, when we got home, he immediately passed out and was just sleeping. But his breathing started getting more and more normal. And then I made a little bed for him because he usually spends the night times outside because he sleeps during the day, but he's exhausted. And I'm keeping him inside. But, and we tried feeding him. He ate a little bit immediately, even last night, you know, when I made the bed for him and stuff. He ate some food, drank a little water. So he's even already getting his appetite back. And even if he was going to be okay regardless and that infection would have passed through, I didn't know that. And I don't care if it was a waste of money. I was going to make sure that that little fucking kid was okay. I wasn't taking a fucking chance. But yeah, and I guess this morning he like got up, like he jumped up on the bed, and you know, he's still moving slow and still a little lethargic, but he went and ate with his brothers because his brothers and sisters come inside to eat in the morning, so he went and ate with them. And yeah, he's doing okay now. And he's gonna be fine. Like, he may not even need another round of antibiotics, they said too. We'll see. But yeah, he's doing good. I'll put a little clip of what my lady sent me this morning. But anyways, I just wanted to share that, you know, like, yes, drugs can be part of the problem, but usually with our addictions and addicts in general, we're the problem. You know, it's not really the drugs, it's the reason that we're doing them. And what is it within that is making us feel this need to escape and distract and not feel? Like, why don't we want to feel? What are we trying not to feel? You know, and that amongst so many other things, right? That's just a brief little, like, you know, snippet of it. But even when you know, because addiction is a disease like that we have forever, regardless of if you're using or not, and the behaviors, right? Like, and you're like, another behavior too is I tend to not talk to people until I have to, like, at all. Like, I still, like, I reach out sometimes, like, I talk to my family, but like when it comes to my friends, I probably don't talk to them as much as I should. Kind of helps that I see them every day because we work on the same job site together, run work together. Like, my best friends in the whole world, and I'm very lucky and fortunate that has worked out that way too. I'm very blessed, very, very blessed. But you know, I could be a lot better at reaching out and actually being more open, like, with more of the people that I say I love and care about. And I'm very good still at closing myself off if I really want to. And there's no need for that. Like, I don't need to do that. Nowhere near as much as I did before, but like, it's still enough to where, like, I notice it. They notice it sometimes too, but they understand. Like, but yeah, I just wanted to share what I like in my life, some behaviors that I know are still sown through addiction, or, like, you know, stuff that was either developed in or because or during, or, you know, that I've picked up and still continued using because of my addiction, or like the circumstances and my behaviors that led to it, right? And there's still things that I really need to work on to this day, a lot more. And don't get me wrong, from where they were before to where they are now, they are a fucking whole world better than what it used to be. But there's still much, much work to be done. Instead of jumping to the conclusion that, yeah, he was shot by a BB gun and I'm gonna fucking fuck whoever it was up, I could have tried to stop and be like, well, let me stop for a second and think about what else really could have happened here, though. And those guys were working still when they've been working late. They must be running behind on that fucking job. And if I would have just looked for a second to the left, I don't know, look at the way I'm dressed, I kind of work in fucking construction, I might have been able to discern, like, oh, you know, all that shit out there, yeah, he probably cut himself on that. And fucking was, like, scared because he got poked really fast and fucking ran up the nearest, like, the tree. But can't always win, like, you know. And hell, if that shit didn't happen, I would have never come to, I guess, this realization or reminder of like, you got a little more work than you might think to do, like me, myself, you know? It's always good to have reminders to look within still sometimes, because it's so incredibly necessary. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was useful in some way, or you got something from this, or even was just maybe entertained by my psychobabble. But I love you guys. God bless you all. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I hope you have a fantastic Friday tomorrow and a lovely weekend after that. I'll be back soon. Bye now.
Yeah, I mean, totally worth it. I would never take back any of it, even if I didn't need to do it. I just, that he is okay is all I wanted in the world last night, and he's okay. So $950, fucking, I'll burn that shit. I'll light that shit on fire just to make sure he's okay. Now that I'm not so filthy and there's better lighting, you can kind of see how I prickled myself with that rose bush. And you can also see a gnarly long sleeve farmer's tan. This arm a little too. Not as much on this arm. Much lighter. This was the arm I was using to clear. This is the little Mr. Peanut guy. Hi, Mr. Peanut. See, here's his little thingy right here. So right under there is his little cracked rib. And this little guy gave me one. Anyways, now Peanut can help me with my outros. Oh, he's purring. Thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, I know I might have said that when I was in the car, but I wanted to show you guys who Peanut was. Put a little face to the story. Oh, I love you too, buddy. There's no way I was gonna let this little guy die. He's too sweet. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys got something out of this, and I love you guys. And so does Peanut. He loves everyone because he's a good boy. Oh, Mr. Nut.